I'm Ariel Azor, host of Right This Way, and today we're going to talk about mask mandates. So almost a year into the beginning of the very first time that they said, oh, wear masks for 2 weeks, just 14 days to flatten the curve, we're starting to see some Republican governors, what a surprise, actually end these mask mandates, say that yes, the time is done for this. It's time to go back to normal. And they're saying we'll still recognize, obviously, what's going on. Apparently, we're still in a pandemic, but we have a supposed vaccine now. So if that's working and people are getting vaccinated, then we don't need the masks anymore. That's kind of the general consensus among these Republican governors who have decided to end the mask mandates. And there's talks of several other governors who are saying, oh, our mask mandate ends on this date. And so I'm going to announce then that it's not going to be continued. So that sort of thing, obviously, again, it's happening differently with every state at a slightly different time in a slightly different manner. So what is Joe Biden's response to this? Because obviously he's the president, started off his, not only like his campaign saying this the whole time, but started off his presidency with a 100-day mask mandate. And I think it's kind of ironic that these governors are now saying, no, actually, mask mandate's over. Because Biden actually doesn't have the power to force everyone to wear a mask. And I think most of these governors are starting to realize that they don't have that power either unless we let them, which we have. But they're starting to say, okay, it's time to be done with it. Let's move on. And the beautiful thing about mask mandates is that if you'd like to wear a mask, if you are concerned about your health and you think you're at risk, you can wear a mask. And everybody else can go about their normal day, can go about their normal lives, living how they normally would without a piece of fabric covering their face. And I say a piece of fabric because I think saying mask is really misleading. These masks that are made of fabric that you can buy at the mall that are supposed to be cute and trendy and fashionable literally are a piece of fabric. Sometimes two. And some of them have like a filter you can put in. And I just think that this is like the biggest BS scam. Because seriously, I just want to know what's going on in people's heads. Joe Biden, he's sitting in this video I'm going to show you in a minute here with a cloth face mask on. It's not like, I get it if you think you're doing something by wearing a surgical mask or an N95. I get it. Those are real masks. They're made for healthcare professionals. They're made for a purpose. They're made to keep particles away from you inhaling them. But a piece of fabric, a piece of t-shirt fabric, sometimes like athletic t-shirt fabric, like you can get so many different kinds, but at the end of the day, these masks, the majority of the ones that we are wearing are fabric. Yet we have people walking around with these fabric masks and they're telling people, no, you have to put your mask on every time they walk into the store. Why is that? Do they really think that they're protecting people, that they're protecting themselves? I had somebody months ago yell at me for not wearing a mask, even though there was no sign on the door, and she was wearing her mask under her nose. Like, she was wearing it, but it was basically on her mouth and her chin. And she yelled at me for not having one at all, and I just kind of wonder, like, is this about masks? Is this really, like, oh my gosh, we're all so concerned for people's health that we're in, like, this mass health scare panic, and we think we're doing good by protecting others? Or is it people who get into this weird mindset of, I can tell you what to do? And it's this thing that I've said more than once is it's just horrible customer service basically everywhere you go. People are so rude. They're just, people are rude. People, they purposely don't touch stuff or they don't let you touch stuff. I had to go get a haircut and I had to use hand sanitizer, which again, which isn't a big deal. It's just, I don't really like hand sanitizer. I don't want it on my hands. If I'm going to pay to receive a service from you, I'm paying you to do something for me, and you're going to tell me that I need to clean my hands. You're going to act like I'm dirty? I don't think so. I'm sick and tired of this, and so many people are sick and tired of this. It's just that some politicians are less blind than others, and they're starting to realize it. Joe Biden, unfortunately for him, is just as blind, if not more blind, than most of what we've got going on in DC today. I'm going to pull up this video for you, and we're going to see what he had to say in response to Abbott and these governors. I think DeSantis, I don't know if he did it yet, as of now, but it's coming. Other governors, Republicans, it's coming.
Message to Texas and Mississippi. Texas and Mississippi.
Texas, I think it's a big mistake. Look, I hope everybody's realized by now, these masks make a difference. We are on the cusp of being able to fundamentally change the nature of this disease because of the way in which we're able to get vaccines in people's arms. We've been able.
First of all, they're literally trying to get him out of the room. They do this constantly with Joe Biden. His team, he gets asked a couple questions, and then his team is like, all right, come on, time to go, time to go. You hear them, these women that are his team saying thank you like 4 times, and then Biden either doesn't hear them or is just feeling up to answering more than 2 questions that day. So he remains in his seat and he lets somebody else ask him a question. And the question, it's a little bit hard to hear, but the question was, in response to these governors ending mask mandates, what do you think of that? How do you feel? So he responds with, hopefully everybody knows by now that these masks work. He sits there just like in the first 8 seconds of this video, he sits there and touches his mask twice because they're incredibly uncomfortable. They're stupid and everybody knows it, but you know, he's got to wear it. They told him he had to, and so he does because he does what he's told. But he thinks that we are on the cusp of fundamentally changing this disease. I don't know what that means. I don't know what it's supposed to mean. But supposedly we are on the cusp of fundamentally changing it. And it's because we've been wearing these masks and it's because people are beginning to get vaccinated. What I don't understand is if we are fundamentally changing it because of vaccinations, why do vaccinated people still have to wear masks? Why are we saying vaccinated people have to act like nothing has changed? If the vaccine works, these people are immune to it, and so they don't need to continue acting like they're diseased, right? Just like we don't need to act like we're diseased when we don't have anything wrong with us whatsoever. But we all have been for almost a year now.
We'll move that all the way up to the end of May to have enough for every American, to get every adult American to get a shot. And the last thing we need is the Neanderthal thinking that in the meantime, everything's fine, take off your mask, forget it. It still matters.
Again, the last thing we need here is Neanderthal thinking, because only a Neanderthal would think that you could walk around outside without a mask on your face. Only a Neanderthal would think that because cavemen didn't know any better. Cavemen didn't have access to surgical masks and N95s. That's why they all died. Oh wait, no they didn't, because we wouldn't be here, right? It's ridiculous. It's Neanderthal thinking. I know he doesn't mean that specifically, but seriously, what an idiot. He sounds like an idiot. It's not Neanderthal thinking. You pretend that you're listening to the signs and you keep saying, listen to the signs. How much scientific research do we have on the long-term effects of wearing a mask? The long-term effects for children, right? For elderly people who have to wear this at their work, at their school for 7+ hours. We don't have any research on that. And if we do, they're suppressing it because you can't find it. Go look it up. Try to find it. Try to find the research on this. But nobody wants to show it to you because understandably, right, common sense tells me that's probably not that healthy for you. Breathing in that like moist, humid air that you just breathed out. I get it. It's not like fully carbon dioxide. You're not poisoning yourself or anything. You know, I'm not trying to be dramatic, but it's not only uncomfortable, it's silly. It's silly that we're still doing this. And so he says, you know, this is the last thing we need because we finally had, what he's really saying here is we finally had everybody doing the same thing because Trump couldn't make them. And because I can't actually make them since I'm the president, I don't have that. The federal government doesn't have that kind of power over the states to control these governors in the way that obviously I think he would like. But I finally had them doing what I wanted, and now they're turning around and not doing this. And even vaccinated people, they can't not wear their masks. We have to continue wearing these. What are they doing? I don't believe for 1 second that they're doing anything. They literally all say on the boxes, not intended for medical use, not intended to do anything. But it's what gets you in a store. It's what gets you in the mall if you're going there. It's not even fun anymore, but it's what gets you places. But that's what Joe Biden wants. That is what he thinks is necessary to fundamentally change the course of this disease, whatever the heck that means.
I have a card and I don't have it. I put it on my desk. As of yesterday,
he carries a card with him except when he doesn't, like now. Good.
Lost 511,874 Americans. We're going to lose thousands more. This will not occur. We'll not have everybody vaccinated until sometime in the summer. We have the vaccine to do it. Getting a shot in someone's arm and getting the second shot, you're going to take time. And it's critical critical, critical, critical.
It's a horrible thing that people are dying. It's always a horrible thing. I'm not at all saying that these people were not important or that we should forget them or that we should not take certain precautions to help people. Obviously, if there's something we can do, but I think we need to really ensure that the things we're doing are actually more helpful than they are harmful. And I don't think that we've done a very good job of that as politicians, for sure, and government in general. And so for Biden to just give these numbers, this is like what the left loves to do, is they love to just give these numbers. And I'm sure it's a real number relatively. I just think that that is so debatable because we have had so many reports of 100% positive test rates, 100% positive death rates for COVID at hospitals and stuff. And I just think it's ridiculous. And they're classifying things. They're without a doubt have seen absolute proof that they're classifying things as a death due to COVID-19 when somebody had a heart attack or something that actually caused their death, but they maybe had COVID-19 or tested positive for the antibodies of COVID-19. And we don't even know how accurate these tests really are. So I just think that there's so much more to unpack there, but people hear this number and they're like, oh my gosh, if I need to just wear this mask on my face to protect these people, I will. And I feel the same way if I thought for 1 second that mask did a single thing. If I thought for 1 second that wearing a piece of cloth over my face was going to protect people from a deadly virus. But then again, if you think about it, I don't get the flu shot because I don't want to. It's my body, right? It's my choice. And so if I don't want to wear a mask, shouldn't it also be my body and my choice? If I don't want to get the COVID-19 vaccine, which I won't, you will literally never catch me getting that, shouldn't it be my body, my choice? But I think we're going to see a huge push here. And he doesn't like specifically say this, but I think that he kind of alludes to it, that I think we're going to see a big push for making people get the vaccine, whether that be because the federal government cannot force everybody to get vaccinated under any circumstances. But I think there's going to be some behind the scenes things with different airlines, different, stores, restaurants, things like that they can say you can't fly on our airline if you're not vaccinated, things like that. So I'll be anxious to see what happens there. Not excited, anxious, but interested, just because I think that it's very kind of unpredictable, but we can definitely call some of these things.
That they follow the science. Wash your hands, hot water, do it frequently, wear a mask, and stay socially distanced. And I know you all know that. I wish the heck some of our elected officials knew it. So thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
There it is. Follow the science. And the left loves to say this, and they love to say that the right doesn't follow the science on climate change and things like that. He wants to sneak this in here and wash your hands. Of course you have to wash your hands. Who doesn't wash their hands? What adult needs to be told to wash their hands? You learn that in middle school health class. You're told wash your hands for 30 seconds under warm water, or a minute, or say the ABCs, right? You are literally taught that from birth. You're literally basically taught that from the time that you are capable of washing your own hands for yourself. So it's silly. They feed these little things in there. Follow the science means washing your hands, wearing a mask. Hold up. Since when does the science say that a piece of fabric covering your face is going to protect you from a deadly disease? Show me the science, because I don't believe it for a second. But it drives me crazy that people think this is helping. And it's not so much, I think a lot of people are like me, that if you need to go to the mall for something, you're going to put it on your face. We don't stop living our lives when flu season comes around. And this is so much deadlier. Sure. It's so much deadlier that a piece of fabric on your face is going to protect you from it. That's what we have to do for the last year, is wear this around our face. But it'll protect you. Okay, yeah, sure. We're coming to the end of this, hopefully, mask mandates. Biden needs to stick with his position on this at least until the 100 days is up, which is kind of embarrassing for him because we're really not that far into it. We're literally at 2 months, so we're not done here. So he can't really change his position on this, but he is kind of throwing in there too, we're going to have everybody vaccinated. We have enough vaccinations for every American adult by the end of May. And he's just saying it's just going to be up to actually getting them into people's arms, since it's 2 shots and all this silly stuff. And I'm not getting that. So I don't know. I mean, you can probably have them vaccinated by May if not that many people are even getting it. We don't even need those. Give them to someone else. Give them to elderly people in a different country that need them. I don't want it. I'm not getting it.